what are the key aspects of a good body language during a presentation?
It's a science of itself.
Okay.
But there's some key aspects. The key aspects are that we should bifurcate body language into stance and posture and position versus eye contact and gestures and facial expressions. Those last three are active. Those last three are connected in each moment and shifting, right? Like if I'm excited about something, you see that. And you hear it. The first ones are shoulders and feet and knees and how we stand and our physical presence. And that's the one, if you look at, that's the one where like you don't want to, you don't want to be small. You want to take up space. You don't want to stand at the back of the stage, right? Like if I'm standing as far away from the camera as I can be, then I'd rather not be here, right? So you need to take 2 steps forward. Or if you're standing behind a podium, you need to stand tall and lean in versus pushing back and being smaller, right? Like, how small can I be back here? Because those things matter. Those things matter. So one thing people do is they tend to stand with a knee locked. And when you stand with a knee or both your knees locked, you have all your weight backwards on one heel. So you have somewhere between 70 and 90% of your body weight has one point of contact with the floor. And you're essentially unstable.
I didn't understand that. So when you say knee locked, that means like knees pointing inward, or?
No, knees. So your knee, instead of this, your knee like this.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
People stand with a knee hyperextended.
Okay.
And that puts the weight on your heel of that foot. And now you're standing, instead of weight on the balls of your feet and your heel, contact with the ground, you're now standing with all your weight on your heel and most of your weight on one foot. And you're not grounded. You're not strong. You don't have a presence. And we want that strong, grounded, confident presence, both for your audience, right? They want to see you as like you like have a presence on stage. You're taking up the space and you're comfortable and you're not wobbling around and back and like, no, don't come too close to me and I won't come too close to you. But you're here with people.
Would you say that if I'm very anxious on stage and I'm having trouble relaxing and everybody can notice I'm nervous, would you say the audience can kind of smell that and lose a little bit of respect, or listening ability?
Yeah, essentially, yes. Now, a little bit of nervousness that then you step through, audiences respect. Like, oh, they're nervous, but they're doing it anyway. But if you keep holding back, then it's just bad news all around. Why are you nervous? You must not know what you're talking about. Like, we're mean. We should say, oh, you're public speaking. Of course you're nervous. Instead, we say, why do you not know what you're talking about? We know we shouldn't say that, but that's what our brains say. The other thing that happens is because your body reads your own body language, it's really important if you're nervous when you come out on stage, You come back here, someone introduces you, you're getting ready to talk. The first thing you should do is take 2 steps towards your audience and land solidly on both feet and have some sort of physical gesture that you can do to explain something. Because that is your brain gets confused. Your brain's like, I'm nervous and I'm scared of this situation. And then you take 2 steps forward and step into that situation and start actually doing something. And your brain's like, oh, maybe I'm okay. So our body language is important not only for this part of our base body language is important not only for our audience, but also us. It's also really important to practice. So if I was working with your friend who's so nervous she just doesn't present at all, we would do presentation practices with no audience. I would meet with her in a lecture hall with no people and develop a physical comfort with the stage and with the volume it takes to project in that space with no people in the space. Because she has to, she's got to work through that. So I recommend people, as they're getting ready to do a presentation, if you can, go and make sure you've seen the space where you're going to present. Practice not in your bedroom with the door shut where you have 2 roommates and you don't want to talk very loudly because you're afraid they'll hear and think funny things of you, but in an empty classroom. Like, we have all these classrooms. Go use them. And practice allowing yourself to get nervous. Practice hearing someone. I tell people to record someone else introducing you and play it. And then when the recording finishes, you have to start. So you stand on the back of the stage in a classroom that's empty. You hit play, you turn it over, you listen to someone introducing you, you imagine an audience, you step forward and you start talking. Because we don't you've done more presentations than most people. 20. That's nothing. That's nothing. Like, think about how many times you've done other skills that you had to develop. Think about how many repetitions you had to do before you developed that skill. So we need to create practice presentation spaces for ourselves that mimic the real thing, not in our bedroom with the closet, like talking quietly, but in a space, and go practicing, get used to it. Get used to the size where your voice has to come up a level and your gestures have to get bigger because people are a long way away and there's a whole stage to fill up. So you shouldn't be, your gestures aren't in here like you're having a quiet conversation with someone. They're out here, right? And you step forward and you you use the space. But we don't talk like that with people. It would be weird if we did. So we need practice.
When it comes to eye contact, I found always this one very confusing from when I'm presenting to 20, 30, 50 people. You have many infinite options of where you can look. You can look at one person, but that's weird to stare at them. You can look at all of them, but then you're looking at no one. But when I found presentations really engaging is when a person picks some people or kind of randomly looks at me for 3 seconds, and looks at another person for a couple of seconds. It feels like it's a person having a conversation with all of these people, one person at a time. Is that how we should do with the eye contact when we're presenting in front of a larger audience, or are there better tricks?
Absolutely.
Mhm.
No, that's the go-to method. Now, two additions to that. One is break the audience into quadrants. So if you have, say, you have 50 people, break it into 6 quadrants. Front right, front left, middle right, middle left, back right, back left. And then move between quadrants randomly. So don't stay in the same quadrant when you go to the next person. And then the other piece is we have people in the audience who are giving us negative feedback. They may actually not be having a bad time. They may just not be expressive. They're actually really thinking about what we're saying. They just do it with a blank stare. Or they do it with a frown on their face.
That can be heart crushing.
Which is heart crushing, right? So you have to have the discipline to not look at them again. You have to go to the people who are giving you positive feedback because it's all about brain space. And you just you have to not keep going back to them, because every time you go back to them, you get crushed again. And sometimes they don't even know they're doing it. They're actually really into it. Like, you talk to them afterwards and you're like, oh my God, I'm so sorry you thought that. No, I was really paying attention. And they're not just blowing smoke. They really were, but they're lousy audience members. So find the people who are giving you positive feedback and go to them. Because negative feedback doesn't do you any good in the moment. Like if you're doing a 2-hour class, different. You need the negative feedback because you need to know when to shift gears. But in a 10-minute presentation, like, screw the negative feedback.
Awesome. That's
cut them out of you. You have my blessing and my permission to cut them out of your universe.